presenter of the day, Michel Westerhoff. So thank you very much, Michel. Here you go. Here's the presentation button.
Hello to the interest group PPI for Waste. Thanks for having me and joining me in this presentation, which will be about the introducing of performance indicators in waste. It's a little bit strange to sit behind my desk and not knowing to whom I'm talking to, but I'll do my best and keep it as interesting as possible. First of all, as was already mentioned in Rome by one of the presenters, waste can be understood as an undesired result of procurement. And of course, this undesired element of it makes it more useful to talk about public procurement for zero waste instead of public procurement for waste. But then again, oh wait, now something is not going as I like. So I would say, how can innovative procurement take place to end waste? And this is in fact the aim we have at our company, Circulus Berkel, which I'm working on a number of years now. And this means that using indicators for procurement to end waste, there are certain conditions which have to be fulfilled, in my opinion, and we are working on that for a couple of years now. In the first place, there has to be a very clear and supported strategy on the prevention and transformation of waste to resources. Of course, this is partly a national policy, but also a regional and policy by municipalities. The way municipalities make this strategy into work has to do with how it is organized, how the actions which the municipalities wants to take on the part of waste management is implemented, and the way how it is controlled. I'll go into that a little bit more in detail some minutes or so. Of course, there has to be a very clear number of strategy indicators which are leading for the procurement function as a part of that strategy. And then, of course, in the procurement situation, the adequate scale different by waste stream, as well as collection as processing of the waste streams, is important to take into account. And at the end, of course, development of market knowledge has to be a part of the procurement function, and within the organization, with implementing waste policies through, as we try to do in close cooperation with similar public procurement partners in the Netherlands and in Europe. Let's see. Who are we? We are a public company owned and by 8 municipalities for about 438,000 residents, based in more or less the middle of the Netherlands, as you can see on the map. And we call ourselves a sustainable service company, and we have a number of goals which can be thought as value creations in 2 transitions. The first transition, as pointed out under in the slide, from waste to raw material. That's what this seminar is about. And then another topic for us is the transition from public space to shared living environment. But that is about, I won't go into that more in detail now. The 4 values which are crucial for developing this transition from waste to raw material are environmental gain, activation of, especially for people who have a certain distance to the labor market, citizen participation, and of course excellent service provision. So this is the framework in which we work. It is a top-down, bottom-up approach where everybody working in the company has the obligation to fulfill nearly each day these values in developing their work on these 2 transitions. We, of course, have goals on these strategic ambitions. A waste-free region is the most important one. We call it 10 kilogram municipal waste and bulky waste per resident per year. So this is the indicator which we focus on for a number of years now. We try to reuse and recycle as much as possible from the waste in the region, especially also, and that's the 3rd point, to strengthen regional socio-economic structure with a particular attention, as I said already, to people or distance to the labor market. And last but not least, we understand that everything in the transition from waste to resources has to do with behavior of citizens, and we have to stimulate their participation in the whole process of transition. Now, as I told before, we think that the structure has to follow the strategy in a way as that the control and the governance of our operations has to be very, very clear. We are, as I told before, we have 8 municipalities which are shareholders and also with whom we have result agreements. And the governance is filled in by the shareholders, of course, and then the way how they function. And at the other hand, municipalities have a control relation with the organization Circulus Berkel, for which I'm working. It's important to understand how the quality of the control is organized as it was and how it is now for the last maybe 6 or 7 years or so. On the left-hand side of the sheet, which I'm presenting now, you can see municipalities who, apart from them each for themselves, have a relation with organization as ours only by steering on the execution of waste management tasks. And policy advice, communication, supply chain management is all separated within each municipality. The transformation which we have had within the organization with municipalities has been to the right, where it is acknowledged that as we are owned by municipalities, and there is a lot of information of the market and execution of waste management tasks within the organization, there also should be a better role for the execution organization, the implementation organization in policy advice, communication, and supply chain management. So we are, in fact, the EU tendering organization for municipalities on behalf of them, and we have been able to scale up the whole process of advice, communication, and management of the execution of waste management tasks. This is very important because it opens up also a different, oh wait, something's going wrong. I don't know why. Well, I wanted to explain that on the left-hand side of this sheet, the control was more or less exclusively directed towards efficiency of the operation, and while on the right-hand side, as you can see now in the orange pop-up, the control is directed on effectivity and efficiency. So the focus is more on what to do and doing that good instead of only doing things as directed by individual municipalities. And this is a very important factor in the whole way the procurement function gets its role and is able to give more indicators a role in its procurement tasks. So the question is not longer what is the cheapest solution, but what is the most effective solution for the policy ambitions of the municipalities. And this is, well, it turns around because this is what I tried to say now. So in a way, if you look at the whole cooperation in the policy chain between municipality, our organization, and citizens, you will see that the policy advice, the reporting about the implementation and the evaluation of the policy is started from the organization Circulus Perkel. The municipality is, of course, in charge of establishing the chosen policy. The control and the governance, as I explained before. The procurement function is then situated with Circulus Perkel and is very important for the implementation and the communication and management of the waste management tasks. And then, of course, we can't underestimate the importance of interaction and feedback from citizens. The participation, of course, the rating of the services we deliver. So when we look at the indicators for the agreements and the result agreements which we have with municipalities, you can see four very factual and important indicators. The cost efficiency, as we are government-owned company, we can't have market forces in that respect, but we do have a national benchmark in which companies as ours are compared on all sorts of indicators, and especially also on cost. So this agreement with municipalities is that we are in the middle rank of the cost efficiency in that respect. Then we have the indicator of the kilogram residual waste per capita, as I talked before, which is a regional ambition to get less to zero waste per capita. Of course, service for citizens is an important indicator which we get with the survey, and then regional jobs, as I explained earlier. To see something about the results which we have realized, you will see that we have decreased the number of kilos per capita from 272 kilo in 2000 to 142 in last year, 2050. And this is of course, also joined by the separation rate, which went from 52% in 2000 to 67% in 2015. We are one of the front runners in the Netherlands. The Netherlands as a whole has about 52% as a separation rate. So this is the rate of the amount of recyclables in comparison to the amount of residual waste. Let's see. Well, of course, the decrease of residual waste, the fine and bulky, as you see in the numbers, has come along with an increase of resources as you know, organic, paper, plastics, glass, and textiles. And so the focus in the whole procurement function is much more towards the resources and how to recycle them and to give them the highest value in the market by number of jobs, by number of environmental effects and indicators like that. And that's exactly what we are doing in the procurement of these activities. As one example, I want to talk very shortly about procurement which we did for the sorting and recycling of plastics. As mentioned in the National Plan for Circular Economy in the Netherlands for 2050, we were cited for the fact that by having a procurement which was one of the indicators was a high sorting percentage of the plastics, we managed to organize a large part of the Dutch market, about 25%, by cooperation in a tender with 3 or 4 other similar companies as ours. And by that way, we managed to increase the amount of sorted plastics after collection from 50 to 90%. And this was totally due to the procurement which we did. So we really realized lessening the amount of waste by such a procurement in 2014. So, but before doing so, and that is exactly what I wanted to point out in this webinar, is that there are structural strategy aspects to this and structural organizational aspects to this to be able to come in a position where you can direct your procurement function towards using more indicators and being effective for the reduction of waste. So this is the part of the presentation which I would like to present for you, and I'm very curious to your questions or remarks and your experiences in your own working life. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Michel. I should say that if anyone has any questions at all, please feel free either to put your hand up by clicking on the little hand sign, or to post them in the chat, and then I can unmute you or pass them on. I actually have one question myself, and I apologize, you may have said this at the start, but in terms of the performance-based indicators that you used for these procurements, I just wondered, first of all, how you chose those particular indicators, and in terms of monitoring the implementation, there were some really impressive savings, but I just wondered how you were monitoring that with the suppliers.
Well, The choice of indicators is, of course, very much directed by the strategy which the municipalities as all together have chosen towards reducing waste and by reducing CO2 emissions, and so it depends on the specific procurement that we choose indicators like the number of jobs which will be realized in the region, the number of reduction in CO2 emissions, as I explained with the plastic recycling procurement tender, we had a very 7 out of 10 points which were dedicated towards the effectiveness of the sorting process as such. And this was also due to the fact that in the plastics has got a system of extended producer responsibility in the Netherlands. So the amount of money which was paid by producers was very much dependent on the effectiveness of the sorting process. So in a way, the price of the sorting process was less relevant than the effectiveness of the sorting process. So the choice of indicators is very much dependent on the strategy, on the position you have towards municipalities, and then of course the possibilities which the market offers you to try to provocate new, more innovative investments and realizing the goals which you have as a company. I'm not sure I answered your second question, but.
No, but you answered the first one very, very clearly. Thank you. I mean, in terms of monitoring, is this something that is done as part of the agreement? I mean, it just seemed that you have very good figures, so I know that's something a lot of our procurers struggle with. I wondered how you carried that out.
Yes, well, of course we have our own monitoring system on weighing and calculating the streams which we are responsible for. So this has much to do with a good internal organization on data. Of course, we have the weighing of the waste streams. Each movement of materials or waste is weighed and can very closely be monitored. Not only as it leaves our company, but also, of course, when it is received by companies with which we have agreements or contracts. They weigh the. So if the indicator of residual waste per capita is a very clear, and it has also some disadvantages, but I could talk that later too. But it gives you a very strong focus on deciding which type of policy is effective or not to reduce the waste, and which priorities have to be chosen in doing so.
Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. We have two questions at the moment, and firstly, one of our panelists has her hand up. But just before I go to you, Anne, we have one question from the attendees, which is: which waste fraction presents the biggest challenge now in reducing the total residual waste per person, and why do you think that is? So, just an easy question for you there.
No, it's a very clear and a very relevant question, because at first we made an analysis of what type of resources were part of our residual waste, and the biggest fraction is still organics. Food waste is, of course, a very high environmental impact stream in the residual waste. So organics and residual and food waste are the biggest. Then I would suggest plastics, glass, of course. Paper is getting less important, but is still big. We have this type of analysis which breaks down the whole composition of the residual waste, and we do investigate that each year. It's not a very nice job to do, but it's very relevant to analyze which resource streams are most prominent within your residual waste, and to target these streams, of course, by first. That's again also the weakness of the indicator residual waste, because we have less big streams which are very relevant from a environmental point of view, like textiles and electronics, which would be about 4 or 5 kilo per capita per year within the residual waste. But of course, these waste streams are also very important to tackle, because they have such an enormous environmental impact.
Okay, thank you. That's very interesting, and I think it links across with other countries as well. I know that in France, for example, food waste is quite a big issue in terms of personal waste. I'm just going to hand over to Anne, and then I have one more question from the audience before we go to Blanca. So Anne, you had your hand raised. I'm going to unmute you to ask your question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Michel, for this great presentation. I have a question regarding the performance indicators. The slide you showed on the indicators result agreement. Well, I understand that this comes from a regional strategy. This agreement is a result of an agreement of all the municipalities you represent, or what is the scope of the agreement, let's say. And then I understand that these are indicators that are out from the procurement award criteria, but are criteria, let's say, that are calculated after the procurement processes and once the solutions are in use, no? So this is what I wanted to know, if it comes from a global strategy, or how did you make this result agreement? And practically, how do you handle with the service for citizens and citizens' participation? If you have some example, a concrete example of one specific action that you did regarding some specific waste stream, I would be glad to hear it. Thank you.
Well, first of all, this strategy, that's a very, very relevant and important point to address, is how can you organize a strong supportive view within your group of municipalities. And we started with this about 10 years ago by a conference in which we asked, this was a sort of intimate conference only with the aldermen of the municipalities. So this was a group of not more than 20 people who were asked to think about what is the future of waste anyway. What do we want to achieve in 2030? And this makes it very possible to start thinking in a more strategic way, and to educate people to look at more innovative ideas and strategies. So we got a lot of ideas from sending waste to Mars and all this kind of strange ideas, but this is very nice and gives you a starting point that when everybody understands that waste is in fact a very undesired outcome of our economic system, and we are looking at a problem which must be addressed with the citizens, then we started to make a strategy for 2030 and develop exactly also on the basis of what type of streams are now in the residual waste and what should be prioritized to diminish this waste stream. So by taking a loop to the future by 2030, you can then develop back and start thinking about what is the effective way to reach that goal. But first of all, you have to have a lot of support for this goal, and of course this takes time, and this takes also a lot of discussion and persuasion about what the impact is. And then in 2006, this was still quite new, and we didn't hear yet about circular economy and that sort of discussions. But it was absolutely necessary to start this whole process. About prevention, but I don't know if I understood your second question good enough. What activities we do on the several streams. One which we're actually at the moment very much into is textiles. We try to improve the whole processing of textiles in the region by further investing on more service in collection and by sorting this textiles within our own region, because we are aware of the fact that now 75% of all collected textiles go abroad, and there is a lot of public attention for the child labor in the production of textiles, but there is a little bit less information or talked about child labor in the recycling of textiles which go abroad, and it's clear that this also happens. So the business of getting the highest possible price for textiles as a procurement officer is not that sustainable from social aspects, and we would like to consider and are in fact organizing now a more regional approach in which the sorting activities can be organized with regional labor, and the export is much more dedicated and clear, so that the risks of child labor on that part are lessened and may be totally eliminated.
Thank you very much. I have just one last question for you, and then we'll move on to the next presentation. But if anyone has any questions, either for Michel or about the other presentations, please either put your hand up by clicking on the hand sign, or let me know in the chat. So my final question, Michel, and then I promise you can take a drink of water or whatever it is. Are you cooperating or somehow involved with designers of products that design zero waste solutions?
This is interesting. We will have in the Netherlands interesting question. In 8th and 9th December we will have a European conference on plastics. And in fact, it's the first time that we are organizing in the Netherlands. I will attend also because we will have the whole chain from designers to recyclers on the table, and we are addressing issues in especially this aspect. How can we better design for recycling and less waste in the plastic market, especially in the packaging, plastic packaging segment. And in fact, I'm responsible for a project which addresses the problems which certain packages have in the recycling because of the use of different types of plastic. And we have at the moment in the Netherlands a big problem with PET trays. This is a form of PET which is very bad recyclable, and is become very popular because of the lower PET price, which is internationally international markets dictate. And so apart from the PET bottles, we now see that there is enormous pollution of recyclables on that behalf. And so this is all a matter of organizing the channel, getting the information up and down the whole chain from design to recycling, and to see that people get better information about the decisions they're all making in this chain of products and materials.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for such a fascinating presentation and for answering our questions so thoroughly. So I'm going to hand over now to Blanca Valenzuela from Mancomunidad del Ser. They are a partner in the PPA for Waste project, and she's just going to present Mancomunidad's approach to waste management within the project. So, Blanca, you should now have presentation rights.
Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes. So
Yes.
if you just select your presentation from the tabs on the top, and then we can start. So it's, there we go. Thank you very much.
Okay, so hi to everyone. Firstly, I'm going to introduce the pilot of Mancomunidad del Sur, which is a partner of the PPI for Waste. The Mancomunidad del Sur is a legal entity composed by 71 municipalities of Madrid, Madrid region, in Spain, and provide service to the total population of around 1,080,100 inhabitants. The municipalities that set up Mancomunidad del Sur carry out the collection of and transport of waste by the municipalities that set up Mancomunidad del Sur carry out the collection and transport of waste by their own means or by contracting other entities, while the treatment and final disposal of waste has been delegated by the Mancomunidad del Sur. Specifically, Mancomunidad del Sur managed from the collection in the transfer station up to the treatment final disposal site. And this is the following municipal waste streams that we manage are organic and other, that we know as a mixed fraction, like packaging waste. Likewise, Mancomunidad del Sur treats other kind of waste, like garden waste and bulky waste. The facility of Mancomunidad del Sur for waste management and treatment that you can see in the pictures are the following. We have 4 waste transfer stations located in 4 different municipalities inside the Mancomunidad del Sur. We have 4 managed 4 big waste treatment facilities. One is the biometallization plant for organic extraction of solid waste. The other one is the one recycling plant for separate collective packaging, metals and bricks, in which we are going to focus on, and a composting plant for garden waste, and finally the big landfill disposal. So this is the total waste managed by Mancomunidad del Sur in 2014 and 2015 is that more or less the total waste, the total separate packaging waste that we collected in the facility was more than 20,000. The total mixed urban waste treated in the biometallization plant were almost 80,000 tons. And finally, the big problem is the total mixed urban waste disposed in landfill was around 750 tons. Well, according to the challenge of Mancomunidad del Sur, the 10 most important needs that Mancomunidad del Sur is facing are those 10, but the most important in a short term is the first one, to increase the waste treatment rate for bio-waste before its disposal in landfill, to increase the treatment capacity of bio-waste. Second, the third one, to optimize the sorting plant for packaging waste, and finally to enlargement the landfill. So finally, after assessing all the needs and during the project and ranking the importance of intervention change in the treatment phase, it was decided to address the fight of plastic packaging, bricks, and cardboard waste. So we are focused on during the project in this need. So the light packaging facility that we have in Mancomunidad del Sur currently it consists of a classification line of light packaging, which after automatization has a nominal capacity to treat 7 tons per hour and a treatment capacity of 25,000 tons per year. In 2015, the input was more than 20,000, and the effectiveness of the facility is very high compared with similar plants, which is 85%. But we still have a big rejection in landfill that it was around 1,800 tons the last year. Also, the performance, as you have seen, also the performance of the sorting plant is adequate. We know that it's necessary to address improvements in this area due to the following reasons. For example, the facility was opened in 1998, so 18 years of activity and enough reason to perform a complete overhaul and renovation of equipment. to increase the treatment capacity of the plant is very important, and to optimize the performance of facilities in order to ensure that the current and expected targets regarding packaging recycling can be reached. Well, this is the design situation of the sorting facility of light packaging to 2020, and the results of now are not very different that we expect, well, are very similar, but we expect to renovate. We are working to renovate the facility in 1 year, so the design situation could be better as we expect. Meanwhile, some improvements that Mancomunidad del Sur can carry out to get a better situation are the following. For example, to apply stricter deterrent environmental taxation, to prepare the facility for the possibility of recycling non-packaging plastic waste, to find a market for recycled plastic of high added value outside the agreement with Ecoembes, which is the integrated management system of Spain, which is responsible for managing plastic containers, cans and bricks. And it's also important to incorporate technological improvement in the treatment plan. And finally, to solve the technological limitation of optical separator, such as limitation of color, label, metallized surface, multi-layer material, or ground errors. I think the last point is very important in the process to renovate the plant. And finally, from demand side, the following measures can be taken to uptake waste procurement, alternative and progressive improvement of public procurement process toward PPI. For example, provide access to financial instruments to public entities such as mancomunidades, association of municipalities with more than 2,000 inhabitants, to introduce the concept of innovation procurement with the advantage, benefits, drawback, and risk, and to update legislation relating to the PPI, and to include a percentage of
Hi, Blanca. I think we might have lost you.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Okay. No
Can you
worries.
hear me?
I think you cut out for a second there, just on the last point.
Do you want I repeat something?
It was just the very last point of slide 11.
This one.
So include a percentage, just a little bit of. I think that was it. So probably, yeah, just that.
Okay, yes, I think it's very important to include a percentage of innovative procurement in the public tender. For example, we have sent the facility recently, but the percentage of the innovative public procurement is very small. So I think for the future it's very important to include a big percentage.
Okay, thank you very much, Blanca. I have a couple of questions from the audience. Once again, if anyone else would like to ask a question, please either put up your hand or just send it to me by chat. So the first question was actually about, you mentioned the idea of using taxation, so taxing people in order to reduce the amount of waste produced, and they just wanted to know how effective that is as a method. Or is it something you've tried or something you're thinking of?
Yeah. Well, for example, in Mancomunidad del Sur, we are trying to increase the rate of the disposal in landfill, but it not depends just in us. It's like we need the approbation of the rest of the municipalities that we just manage the facilities, but this is an agreement between the whole municipalities. This is also important. Well, I think the government could also to say something, but for now, currently we know that in Catalonia the tax are more higher than in Madrid, for example. Here the cost of 1 ton is for the municipalities is 12 euros, and in Catalonia I think they are paying like 80 euros per ton. So it's very different, very significant the price. So I think, yeah.
So I just do you know if that has any impact on the waste being produced in?
Yeah, of course. If it is more stricter, the tax, I think we are going to recycle more. We are going to enlarge the capacity of the plant because it's very expensive to throw the waste in landfill, and we have to enlarge our landfill, but because now the facility are not prepared to receive the waste that we are generating. But for sure that we have to put more higher the cost of the landfill.
And that leads perfectly, actually, into the next question I've just received, which was that you mentioned the fact that one of your priorities is to expand your landfill.
Yeah.
And I know that the European Commission has a long-term strategy to reduce landfill. And so are there other measures being taken to ensure that over the longer term the landfill will be reduced?
Yeah, but we have to be realistic, and we are working on to build new facilities and to recycle more. The municipalities are thinking about to put the feed container to separate the organic waste. All the steps are very important to get less waste disposal in landfill. But until we get that result, we need to have the landfill. So we need to enlarge the landfill that we have now, because if we don't do any work in 1 or 2 years, the landfill is full. So of course, I hope in 5 years we don't use. I hope we don't have to use the landfill, but for now it's enough to be realistic.
Thank you. And I just have one final question from Michelle, actually, which is, are there any policies in Spain to include recyclables in new products that you're aware of? So
Sorry, if I know the politics.
If there are any policies within Spain to use recyclable materials in new products? Yeah,
I think so. So I can hear, I don't know if it's every day, but I think for example, Ecoembes is trying to talk with the producers, like with the brand of the products, to convince them to make the packaging more sustainable, more they have to make them with material with recycled material, and I think that, and also I think that there is a politics with I don't know, but maybe the product which are destination for alimentation, like for food, can be made with recycled material, but I think this is going to change. But so I think we are in good way, but we have to work more and also the citizen. We have to buy the product that has made with recycled material, and I don't know. We have to reuse the material at home. I think we have to make a lot of things, but.
Yes, I think it's a very long-term process.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Blanca. That was really fascinating. I'm going to hand over now to Anne-Sophie. I hope that you've enjoyed these two very different approaches to waste management. And I've just unmuted you. Unfortunately, I had some difficulty to upload the presentation, so what I'm going to do is to share my screen, and if you just let me know when you want me to change the slide, would that work for you?
Okay, yes, definitely.
Okay, 1 second then, and I will just share my screen, and if you let me know when you can... Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just let me know when you want me to move to the next slide.
Okay. My presentation is quite short. We just want to review what are the opportunities for the interest group and purchasing community created in the framework of PPI for Waste. I'm very glad about this webinar, and I think it's very interesting, and again, it shows how different approaches are made in the European Union. We have had the example of the Netherlands and the example in Madrid, and there are a lot of opportunities on both sides. And, PPI for Waste in some way is a testing activity that sets the ground for future PPI for innovation and test the opportunities to make coordinated or common or joint public procurement of innovation. So if you can move on the next one, next presentation, the next slide. Yes.
I'm trying, it doesn't seem to be... Oh, there we go. Is that the next?
Okay. So just to remind you what we were facing in PPI for Waste and the challenges and what we are, how we are answering them. We in the waste management, as in many sectors, there are still drawbacks that limit the implementation of public procurement of innovation. One of them is the fragmentation of demand and lack of cross-border coordination. Then there is a need to create critical mass of potential procurers. There is also a lack of knowledge and capabilities of public procurers regarding public procurement of innovation, and an aversion for change, let's say. Then there's a need for a more rapid uptake innovation solution and to leverage additional investment in research and innovation. And finally, another challenge to be answered is the lack of knowledge of close-to-market innovation solution, and also need to increase the mobilization of SMEs and industrial partners. And in this sense, public PPI for Waste has promoted the collaboration between public and private sectors through market consultation, as you may know. And what I am highlighting in this slide is what are the main points that can be benefited by the existence of the interest group and the purchasing community. So that can answer the challenge, which is the identification of common needs within the public waste management sector in Europe. The needs that have been identified in PPI for waste have been shared with the community. So there is, let's say, we have created a way to promote the cross-border coordination and the dissemination of these common needs, which are plastic separation, bio-waste collection and treatment, bulky waste, decision support systems, and packaging, light packaging waste also. Then we have then created this interest group and purchasing community whom you are belonging to, I assume. And then we also will implement capacity building workshops to reinforce knowledge on PPI procedures. And we are currently working on 2 dynamic case studies to prepare coordinated procurement of innovative solutions in waste management. I will go more in detail in the next slides on this specific part. Maybe we can shift to the next one. Well, I want to be brief, but as you can see, it's a full process of a change that we are currently working on and collaborating on. So the start point in the middle is where we are at the moment, and below it, it shows what we have done till now. So, well, we have identified the common needs, the state-of-the-art of waste management innovative solutions, launched the group and running them to foster dialogue and the critical mass of procurers in eco-innovative waste solutions. We have also contributed to foster market dialogue, and now we are at the point that, well, we have done a lot of mass dissemination, a lot of preparation action, and we are focusing on the pilot partners of the project. Let's say we have gone from wide to a more focused approach now with the pilot partners. They are Mancomunidad del Sur. You have heard Blanca with the description of their challenges and their focus for the pilot, and the city of Zagreb. So we have developed a roadmap on progressive improvements and performance characteristic, which is currently under development part of it, and we will develop contract modeling and capacity buildings to procure. Maybe if we go to the next slide, you will see what are the specific next steps, and that they can benefit to the community we have created in the interest group. So, well, first of all, as I was saying, we are going to implement capacity building workshops to reinforce knowledge on PPI procedures. Currently, the capacity building material is under development, but well, it will include all necessary thematics that are to be taken into account to prepare and to implement the PPI, with including specific case studies on the waste management to tailor the material to this sector. Okay, so the capacity training, capacity building material is tailored to the sector and made specifically to waste management managers. Sorry, waste managers. Then, well, we will hold 4 capacity building seminars in Germany, Spain, Sweden, and Croatia. And after these seminars, we will make also a complete lesson learned on PPI for waste at the end of the project, because we have had a lot of learnings during the process, a lot of opportunities, also a lot of barriers. So there is a need to create a lessons learned on what can be the tendency for PPI in the future in waste management. Then, as I was saying before, we are conducting case studies to prepare coordinated procurement of innovative solutions in the sector, which includes a roadmap for targeted improvements and performance characteristics, risk reduction strategy and contract modeling also, as well as financial modeling. I will, in the next slide, I also explain to you what is the potential benefit for the community of interest and group of interest and purchasing community if we want to shift. Maybe, yeah, thank you. So with all this set of activities, what would be the opportunities that offered by PPI for Waste for the interest groups? Well, concerning, first of all, the interest group is a community building approach through a space that includes the main players of the PPI ecosystem in waste management, and it serves to share, connect, and discuss, post comments, and upload documents. So for us, it is important that to share our outcomes from the project and try to establish synergy amongst needs from the partners of the project, but not only from them, but also from the waste community. There is an opportunity to follow up PPI for Waste activities in the future and to implement real public procurement of innovation, and the interest group and purchasing community are both an opportunity for this. Then members from the groups can improve their procurement capabilities and their procuring skills by joining the trainings and other networking activities that are organized in the project, like this webinar, for example. Then what we are currently implementing in the project, let's say the specific contract modeling, risk strategy, and financial modeling that include a sectorial approach for waste management, will also serve as a good practice and testing practice for future PPI implementation in waste sector. So we also invite waste stakeholders to send us any practical input or good practice on this specific contract modeling, risk strategy, and financial modeling, and the waste management approach. For example, maybe Michelle, if you have some input that could be serving from the project to the project, we would be really glad to have them and to learn from your practices, because it looks like really you have a really already a long-based strategy on this procurement and procurement of innovation in waste and performance indicators, common strategy. So really it would be great to have to be able to share with the members of the group and the experts interesting inputs that would make us advance and progress in PPI for waste. We don't want to make it an isolated action, but it's as a coordination support action. It has to be really based on networking and sharing benefits activity. Then in line with what I have just said, procurers of the groups and can benefit from the support of other key players in the ecosystem. So this is why I take the opportunity again to ask for this sharing of knowledge and good practices and waste management, innovation, procurement. Thank you. I think this is it from my side.
Okay, thank you very much, Anne. I think we're just coming to the end of our webinar now, but before you will go off and enjoy your lunch, I just have one question actually, which was, do you know when these national training events will be taking place and where they will be advertised so that the interest group can sign up for them?
Yeah. Yes, well, we do not have the specific date, but it is expected that the trainings are going to be organized during the month of January, maybe some late ones in February, but normally they should be organized by January. So we will, since we want to wait that we want to wait for specific inputs on case studies and to finish all the materials, and we need to make some translations and so on. But we will for sure disseminate it in PPI for Waste website, in our Twitter account, also in the groups, in both groups of the forum, with the interest group and the purchasing communities. So we will use all our dissemination channels to make the dissemination and the dates clear. As soon as we have any complete information on dates, we will publish it.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining. I hope you found that as fascinating as I did. We'll be in touch soon. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Michel just said that he would be very interested to share the performance indicators and results. So I think we can upload all of the presentations and any further information into the Procurement Forum discussion groups, and I will also send it around to the whole interest group afterwards. If you have any further questions or if you'd like to follow anything up, I think the best forum to do that is probably the Procurement Forum. We have a dedicated group there. As I mentioned, if you're not a member already, we will be sending invitations afterwards. So thank you everyone for coming, and we'll be in touch with further activities. I think the next activities, as Anne mentioned, will be the national training workshops. I hope you all have a good lunch, and we'll be in touch again soon. Goodbye.